Welcome everybody. This is Rebecca once again with Speak Lounge. I'm here today with Latonya Fenderson-Warren for another interview of another amazing local artist. So Latonya, thank you so much for joining me here today.
No problem. Thank you for having me, Rebecca.
Heck yes, and thank you for
so
your
excited.
patience with me as my schedule has been freaking nuts, but I'm glad that we got to fit this in when we did.
Too.
So tell us a little bit about what you have going on currently. With what you do.
It's been so busy lately. I've been booked and busy, girl. Booked and busy. Oh my gosh, the queen has been running here and there and everywhere. So I am in the midst of book number 4 book tour.
Awesome.
And so that's all in promotion of my 4th book. Of course, it's poetry as all the rest, entitled Gift Me with Flowers While I'm Present. I don't know why I didn't bring a copy so I could be like, but this is like my first podcast interview, so that's why I'm still trying to get myself together.
Heck yeah.
All right, so, and then of course, my dream funder, that's what I call it, dream funder. When you have your 9 to 5, that helps to fund the dream.
Yes.
Until you get to the blow up. And then there's, and then I decided to throw a little razzle dazzle in there and go back to school. So.
Yeah, you did mention that. Yeah. So, where do I want to start? There's so much.
There's so much.
So first, tell me a little bit more about what's in the 4th book. You have 4 books out now. So give me a rundown of this last one, and then I'll probably want to talk a little bit about the other ones that you got.
Okay. So this most recent book was released November 11th, which is a special date for me. It's the birthday of 2 very close friends that I've lost along this path called life. And so it runs the gamut. It talks about family and the wonderful ups and downs and issues that we may have with a family, and the structure and destruction of a lot of relationships and things like that in family, and how we need to work on it and get back together, pretty much. It talks about relationships as far as like a significant other or your spouse or your partner. It talks about relationships in that terms, and that means, and all the things that you go through with that. And it also talks about what do you see in society still, which also goes back to my 2nd book. When I look over my shoulder, that was talking a lot about the different things that we see in society, that I see in society, that not everybody talks about or turns a closed eye to or turns a deaf ear to. You know, I hear it, so I speak on it and I write about it. And then it also, within this book, there's the tribute to the citizens of Buffalo with their grocery store massacre that they dealt with. It was probably over a year ago now. But yeah, still definitely prevalent and fresh in their minds because they went through it. So even though things like kind of can go out of the news feed and become like old news to us, because unfortunately we deal with the issue of mass shootings, or we hear about mass shootings way more often than we should, because we shouldn't. For the victims and their families and things like that in that community, it's still very fresh and, real for them.
Yeah.
And so, what else do we have in this book? We talk about pet grief, which is something that, happens along with life and different losses that we have. That can also include, our pets, our furry loved ones. So I finally got a chance to delve into that and the feelings that I've harbored for so long that I didn't really know that I had. I just got a chance to express it.
Yeah.
So, and then it talks about survivors of sexual assault. It talks about different things that go on in society when when you're not always in a place of financial stability and you're trying to get to that place, and just the different going-ons in life. It just talks a lot about life in general, all kind of different aspects, and runs the gamut on different things that are happening in my life and their lives and your life, and yeah. So I'm talking about it all.
Right.
Pretty much.
For sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, it definitely sounds like you're covering a lot of different bases. And even when you perform, I've seen you perform multiple times now at our different open mic nights, at your own open mic, or your book signings and different events that you've put on, the workshops that you've had at the South Branch Library. Every time you bring a diverse range of topics that you discuss, which is really cool, and I think that's awesome. And so I guess that kind of leads me to my next question. If you could, describe your target audience, who do you picture when you're writing? Do you picture a specific audience that you're trying to target with your work, or I don't know? Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, that kind of reminds me of like when I get ready to publish my books, how it asks about the range, and like I say in that from my answer for that, it's like from 9 to 99.
Yeah.
So everybody and anybody. That's who this is for. Whoever it inspires, that's who it's for.
Yeah.
So whoever it motivates, I hope I provide inspiration for whoever is inspired by it. I hope I provide motivation by whoever's motivated by it. So
that's awesome.
For whoever.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So how do people find your work, mostly, would you say?
Well, wherever I am, I usually have my books on me. And then, of course, there's LFW Books on Facebook. And Instagram, I think it's just under my name. I still am very green on the Instagram thing. So I still have a lot to learn because I still consider myself very tech savvy challenged, so very tech unsavvy. So I'm still working on a whole lot of stuff. When you were talking about a clicker, I was like, yeah, clicker, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then in local bookstores, which is a blessing because, my hometown, which is Oberlin, Ohio, shows a whole lot of love. You can find my books there. You can find my books all around Lorraine, Lakewood, Buffalo, and Columbus, and just growing until it's worldwide. You're gonna be able to find my books worldwide. Plus, they're on Amazon, so they're at your fingertips, pretty much. If you got a phone, you can find my books.
That's awesome. Yep. Yeah, I know we were able to find them for sure for the workshop that we did.
Yeah.
That was awesome. We were able to feature Latonya's work as an additive for our workshop. It was a great experience that was had for a lot of people to come and get to read a local poet's works and be able to discuss their thoughts about her work and kind of what her artistry did for them. So I know a lot of people enjoyed that experience, and I know you got to attend. I didn't even get to attend because I was freaking working, but
because we're always working.
I know. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, how was that experience for you, that workshop?
It was really nice. I enjoyed it. I loved that there were people that came and that were interested, because that's always very, it just means a lot to me, that because it's one thing to have feelings and write about it and then put it out, and it's like does anybody else feel this way? Does this capture anyone's attention? Does this move anyone in any kind of way? Like, the reception is always like, you never know what it's going to be or if there will be any reception. You're hoping for it, but, so it felt really good because I got a chance to attend a couple sessions and, drop in and stuff like that and speak with some of the students and, of course, the workshop teacher, instructor extraordinaire, Truth, Alice Taylor, and all the great things that Truth brought to the class.
Yeah.
Was also awesome. So I appreciated everything that came out of that. Just the whole fact that the church, let it happen and take place on their grounds and all that stuff. So thank you to the pastor and the church and all the participants and Truth.
Yeah.
Thank you kindly. I really appreciate it.
Heck yeah. No, yeah, definitely. We appreciate that as well. That was a really cool experience, a cool opportunity. So back to you with writing stuff. I mean, when did you, I guess, start writing?
That was, it all began back in like 7th grade when I first started learning about this thing called poetry, and then I could like get into it and see that I could like really put my feelings into it and say different things that I usually wouldn't be able to say in writing per se, and different ways of expressing yourselves and just like, I don't know, it just really caught my interest, and I was like, this is something kind of cool. And I never really thought about it before. And then, it's just like something I learned back in 7th grade. And then, it just kind of like here and there, I would be able to, sit down and write a poem about this particular subject or that particular subject and stuff like that, and just go on. And then I never really got very serious about it until maybe about 15 years ago. I started off in my church, and I started, of course, writing about things that are passionate and important to me. So they were faith poems, and they were all about, my faith and my love for God and things like that. And so I got a chance to express some of those poems and read them to like my church family at House of Healing. And so that's kind of how that started. And that was like my first time ever getting on stage reading my poetry to more than like someone that I'm just sitting in the same room as, because it took a long time for that to even happen. And then it just kind of developed more and more off of it. And then I would share it with my friends at, I would, be on my break at work or something like that. Only on break. The rest of the time I'm working hard. And so on my break, I would create these poems, and I would share it with like my work bestie, and she was like, "I thought that was a song," and I was like, "No, it's just a poem I just wrote." She was like, "Oh my God, I thought it was a song." I was like, "Wow, that's kind of special," and it just continues to grow. As an artist, you create art, you're always creating. As a creator, you're always creating. And as a writer, you're always writing. So it just kind of comes and it just flows and just, like out of nowhere. I can be in the midst of driving. I can be in the midst of trying to go to sleep on time so I can get ample rest.
Yeah.
and then a poem just comes. And I got to get up and I got to write it down. Or I got to pull over and I got to write it down. So,
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, being an artist, it just happens. And it's really, really cool. I was talking to another artist about just how your artwork is such an expression. It's an extension of you, really, and like how difficult it can be to be vulnerable, kind of like what you said, being able to say things that maybe you wouldn't normally say, but they're in you, it's... Art gives you an outlet. It gives you a way to communicate that is safe. And I know at Speak Lounge we try to create safe spaces to be able to showcase a lot of artists' work in that way. So I guess, I don't know, I'm kind of curious about 7th grade Latonya. And because I think that's awesome that that's kind of when you got introduced to it, was through school and starting to kind of learn about poetry. So in what ways would you say 7th grade Latonya inspires you in the work that you do now?
Oh, I don't know. 7th grade with Latonya was, I guess, considered a little kind of like kind of outcast, like kind of not, definitely not the most popular student. Um, Definitely wasn't athletic. Yeah, I still don't run. I might run for president one day, but yeah, so that hasn't really changed. Um, Still kind of quirky and trying to figure herself out. Yeah, I don't know. Heck, I'm still 7th grade Latonya in a way, just a little more evolved, I guess.
Right, yeah.
And yeah, still considered a little goofy. Yeah. And happy. Most of the time people see me as happy, and most of the time I am happy, and I love to be happy, even though I definitely experience all other emotions all the time.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I would love to showcase happiness more. And I remember one of my classmates in 7th grade saying, "You're always happy. You're always smiling." And I was like, I think it's better to smile than it is to frown. So, yeah, I'm always smiling about something. So, yeah, 7th grade Latonya is not all that different from adult Latonya.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Okay. So yeah, okay, so another thing you mentioned was a lot of the emotions that we feel. Oftentimes we do want to put on that happy face, being out. And I think that's another really cool thing that I've seen with your work is the ability to discuss different emotions, go to different places, talk about some really challenging topics. And I've just seen you do that really well through your artwork. So in what ways would you say that poetry kind of helps you with emotional expression, or even just to process some feelings that maybe might be more difficult?
Well, first, thank you. And as far as the question, I don't know. Poetry has been my form of expression of how I, deal with things or see things, or yeah, because sometimes I'm not always able to put it into words, or not always able to, speak about it with like one of my friends or something like that. Even though I can talk to my friends about anything, and my family and stuff, but usually that's pretty much like the end of it. So this is a way for me to express my feelings to a larger crowd, a larger audience, or whatever, a larger part of society, and participate. Because I don't want it to seem like audiences, and like I'm always performing and they're always just the spectators. Because a lot of my stuff can be, some of my work can be interactive, and then I definitely want it to seem more interactive than just like watch me perform. So it's like my way of engaging with other people, and connecting with people, so that hopefully the things that I say in some of my poems sticks out to people in a certain way, and connects them in a certain way, and they're like, you know what, I've had that feeling before, or I never thought anybody else saw this the way that I see it, or something like that, or even as far as just like informing people, because knowledge is power, and a lot of people, things that I talk about in some of my poetry, people haven't didn't, they never had any knowledge of it. Over this past weekend, I got a chance to spend time with my in-laws, and they were talking about eye surgery. And I was like, well, yeah, Patricia Bath, she's like the inventor of eye surgery and stuff like that. And so they're like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm like, it's in my second book. It's in my second book. You just got to read it. So, yeah, I'm just like trying to spread a message and trying to spread love and understanding. And I do all that through poetry.
That's awesome.
So
yeah, I love that. I love the education piece, and I think it's really important. I mean, as we are entering this phase of the world, I guess this phase of America, where a lot of education is seemingly becoming more limited, more pointed. History is being removed from a lot of curriculum nowadays.
Exactly. I was just about to say erased.
Yeah, eliminated. Yeah, I mean, truthfully, so it is a scary thing, but I also think it just increases the importance of artists in the community to be able to utilize their artwork to provide a real insider look at history, to provide opportunities for youth and younger generations to read and explore a lot of history that they might not be learning at school, a lot of content materials that maybe even my generation didn't learn in school. I feel like a lot of what I learned was from being exposed to to poetry later. Therapy too, but poetry later in life. There was a lot of information that I gained from poets who were providing education in that way. So I think that is super necessary, and that's awesome that that's something that you prioritize.
Yeah, I try to. And just as you mentioned, even if it was by accident, not really, it not being really accidental, because poetry and therapy kind of go hand in hand. I know poetry has been a form of therapy for me, and how I express, like I said, feelings that I, don't necessarily voice or express all the time. I can put it in the form of words, and it's like therapy.
Yeah.
For myself, and I'm hoping for someone else as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about audience, and your work impacting other people. I know you have a lot of events that you actively are putting on, whether it's book signing, whether it's workshops. I know you have a vision board experience coming up.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit more. I know you do a lot with the South Branch Library. But yeah, where can people kind of be finding you? Do you have some events coming up? What's in the works for you right now?
Well, I do have a vision board roundup every year, LFW Books, which stands for Latonya Fenderson-Warren.
I feel like I should look at the camera when you do that too.
Every year we have a vision board party. So this year it's going to be a vision board roundup. And then when I talk about it on when I go live and stuff and talk about how it's coming up, which is this Saturday at 4 p.m. at the Lorraine Public Library South Branch on Homewood. And you're welcome. Everybody's welcome. And so we're going to go with a country western theme.
Oh, fun.
And like a rodeo theme. And so, we're putting on our plaid and putting on our Wranglers and putting on a cowboy boots and cowboy hat and just having fun with that whole theme. And it's kind of, right in time for, Beyonce's little country album. Right. So we'll probably be playing a little bit of that in the background.
Yay.
Along with all kind of other little cowboy theme songs and Genuine's Pony and public announcements, yippee-yi-yo, yippee-yi-yo. Just having fun, because that's exactly what we plan to do.
Yes.
Is do our planning and our envisioning and write it down, make it plain. That's a biblical thing. I always sprinkle a little Jesus in there somewhere. And so it's biblical to write it down and make it plain. And so that's the main thing that we're doing whenever we do a vision board party, is writing it down, making it plain, reminding ourselves and announcing to the world what we are going to do this year. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's what it's all about, and have fun doing it, and yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And then I also have, usually I'm participating in like local open mic events. That could be in Lorraine, that can be in Oberlin at the Fev on Thursday nights. And then in March I'm probably gonna be going back to Mind Fear Books, Ben Franklin. That isn't etched in stone yet, but of course it will become a event that I'll be posting on Facebook, where I'll go and do like an hour of power, and I'll do an hour of different poems. Of course, next month is Women's History Month, so I'm going to be doing a whole lot of girl power, girl women empowerment type of poems during that time. And yeah, what else? I know in July 24th, I believe, yeah, I will be at the Lakewood Library. So I'm very excited about that, because I'll be working with a new library that I've never worked with before.
Yeah.
So anytime I'm entering new territory, I'm always muy excitado about working with different groups and different facilities and stuff like that. I just got through working with Art in the Park at Longfellow last Thursday with Miss Gloria Buxton. That was awesome. Karma was there. She did a painting right then and there on the spot. Oh, cool. I got a chance to share my rendition of the poem by Langston Hughes, which is my rendition is Mother to All, which is based off of the poem Mother to Child, Mother to Son. And so yeah, that was good. And just I got a lot of different things planned, so yeah, I got to get back out to Buffalo. But the best way for me to let people know about things is through Facebook. So that's my main mode of keeping people informed. So yeah, awesome.
Well, cool. Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff planned for this year. Oh yeah. You've been doing a lot, so that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to see it all play out, and that's awesome. Really cool about the Lakewood Library too. That sounds like a really cool opportunity. So yeah, cool stuff. I mean, exciting stuff, and you're definitely staying busy, no doubt about it. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to support from the community, that's something that I'm really trying to push with this YouTube channel, is finding ways that we can support local artists better, more, because I think it's really important, the role of artists. I mean, I've talked about that a little bit during this interview, but just the role of artists, even in community development, community revitalization. I know that's something that Mary talks a lot about at Broadway Mary's, is just different communities that really utilize the arts to revitalize their downtown spaces or just their community as a whole. So in what ways would you think that the community could show you the best support, or just support you better, support you more? How do you think the community can get behind you?
First of all, I really appreciate the support I already receive, because I feel like I do receive a lot of hometown love, a lot of love locally here in Lorraine. Um, but as far as more support, sometimes it's like when we're in the midst of an event or being a part of an event or putting on an event or something like that. And then you have all this, I don't know if it's like our expectations or anticipation or whatever, but sometimes it seems like when it comes to like the actual event going on itself, it's not enough bodies in the room, pretty much. It's not enough people coming out. It's not enough people, taking advantage of all the great art and talent that we have locally in this town and things like that. And then next, you'll hear people say, oh, it's boring, there's nothing to do. Well, when there is something to do, that's the time to come out and be a part of it and, enjoy it and all that stuff, because you matter. Your presence matters. It matters when somebody is up on stage and they look out and it's not a bunch of empty seats, because that's not the best feeling in the world. So, and then next somebody will say, oh, I would have came if this didn't come up, or if I would have known. It's like, okay, well, find a way to stay informed, find a way to stay engaged so that you can, enjoy the great things and the fruits of our labor, and stuff like that, because like it takes a lot to, as you know, it takes a lot to put on different events and different shows and stuff like that. And so it's like it would be really nice if we had more support, pretty much.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't feel like it's all in vain, because sometimes it does. You do have that feeling. On the flip side of things, it does feel like it's in vain a lot of times. You'll go to a different event, or you'll have a table or something like that, and nobody's coming to your table, or nobody's making any purchases. Like, or you can put on a class, put on a workshop, or hold a class. But what's the class without any students?
Yeah.
So, those kind of things, they definitely play a part. So support.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't really push it enough.
Right.
We need support.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to take this time now to thank you and Speak Lounge for all the things that you do. So
Thank you.
You've been very supportive of me and my different events and my journey, period. So I appreciate you.
We appreciate you right back, because without artists like you, we wouldn't be anything, really. So that's awesome. I guess that kind of leads to my next question. This is just for, I guess, me, but in what ways do you think Speak Lounge could better support what you have going on?
Pretty much just keep doing what you've been doing. Yeah, pretty much just continue to show the love that you've been showing and the support you've been showing. Like when you put on the workshop and things like that, just to keep doing what you're doing, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I think I can do that, hopefully. Yeah, we can make sure that happens. That's exciting. Cool. So yeah, all right. Well, cool. Any last things that you want the audience to know about you?
That I have a lot more room to grow, and a lot more shows and a lot more things to know. And so with that, I would say stay tuned. And I thank each and every one of the supporters and the people who view this, and anybody who's ever came and seen any of my shows, and anyone who's ever bought anything from one of my tables, or at any one of my any marketplace or anything like that I've had going on or whatever. And it's just a lot more to come.
Heck
The
yeah.
show is definitely gonna continue to go on.
Yes, awesome. Well, we're looking forward to seeing everything that you continue to do, because it's been awesome to watch up to this point. So
Thank you.
heck yeah. Well, everybody, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is Latonya Fenderson-Warren. You can find her books on Amazon. I will include a link to her social medias, the Amazon page. And yeah, that's where you can find, I know she spreads a lot on Facebook, like she mentioned, of her upcoming events. So you can follow her there and see what she's got going on in your city. And yeah, come on out. Enjoy some of the fun stuff that is here. Because it's here. It's here now. And everybody would love to meet you. So thank you so much for watching today. And make sure you subscribe, like, everything else. Share this video. So that, yeah, we can get more support out here for our local artists.
Yes. Oh, I have one last thing to say.
Go ahead.
For those of you that are watching, even if you're not a poet or an artist per se, whatever talent you have, and yes, you have a talent, just continue to work on it, pray about it, and your talents will make room for you. And know that you, much like myself, you are a bird and you must fly. You have wings and you must fly. And that's just all there is to it.
Yeah. Awesome. Sounds good. Cool beans. We will see you guys next time. Peace out.